Super BS.
Welcome. We are back and ready to break some bread. This is Brank from Super BS, ready and reporting for duty. Who's sitting right across from me?
I'm bread, ready to be broken.
No! It's my lady Donna that you just heard. And who's right next to me?
I'm spread, ready to be spreaded.
Oh, my goodness. It's going to be one of those episodes, I guess. That was my boy Josh over there, a wee boy.
Janky, jank.
Janky, jank. Anyways, there's a lot of news and a lot of a game we've been playing. Before we get to the main game that we're probably going to have a lot to say about, has anyone been playing anything that isn't said game?
Yes.
What? Okay.
Real quick.
Go, Josh.
I know I've talked about this before, but I finally...
Josh, let me stop you right there, and let me talk to you about what I've been playing, actually.
Please.
The main thing that we're all...
just
real quick. It's just going to take us
just real quick.
Just 10 minutes.
Quick. I just played through the end of Maze, and I know I talked about this before, but hey, I liked it. I thought that I spent a lot of time playing it, and it turns out it was only an hour and a half. So,
well, there you go.
But yeah, I definitely recommend this game because it, like I said, it's only an hour and a half, and it's got a funny story, very awkward story, and I haven't seen a lot of games where the writers take chances on like just completely random humor like that. So it's a puzzle game. It's a first-person puzzle game. You're picking up objects, moving them around, and as you're going through the story, you're getting, you're picking up shredded portfolio pieces that have information on what happened, how these sentient corn stalks come to life, and there's a whole...
Is the writing pretty corny, you would say?
I mean, literally, this game is amazing. See what I did? Anyways,
can you upgrade to the rank of Colonel?
This is never gonna end.
These puns are popping. There's a whole other side story that takes place with using sticky notes between the two idiot scientists who accidentally created the sentient corn stalks, and a lot of that's pretty funny. But anyways, I don't think it's worth the $19.99 price point for an hour and a half.
He says
game.
This right before we're about to talk to the devs very soon.
But, I mean, I'm...
No, just be honest. Be honest. Sorry, I was just joking. Yeah, $19.99. It's on sale this week for $13.
Yeah, so I would pick it up for $13. But I mean, I just wish they would make it a little bit cheaper. But yeah. Anyways, that's what I've been playing besides the game that we all are dying to talk about.
It has a multiplayer element too, though, right?
Maze?
Yeah, I thought it's like an online multiplayer shooter at points.
No, it's not even a shooter. It's just like it's a first-person puzzle game. So it's
not enough puns.
Yeah, there's it's a good game. I mean, that's all. Like it shows the quality that indie games are reaching now, where it's not like that we now have the technology to make like these low budget games look really good.
And Maze is the first one. It was not Braid. It was not Castle Crashers.
Maze is 3D, right?
Yeah,
it looks cool. I think it's probably made with Unity. It looks like a well-made game.
It is a well.
And we're hopefully going to get a chance. You might be talking to the developers soon.
I'm trying to set up an interview with the developers.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's when I finished it, I definitely like had this. I'm like, this is a very like well put together, very awkward game, and I really want to talk to the guys who made it. So we're trying to make that happen.
That'd be cool. Donna, have you been playing anything?
Yeah, there's a couple indie games that are on sale on live right now that I've never heard of but look pretty good. Like,
which ones?
I think it's called like Stories of Bethel or something. I'm gonna look it up. It looks like Zelda, but it looks like a Link to the Past.
Or you're not talking about Ethan's Quest or whatever,
no,
right?
No.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Just I do know Elliot's Quest.
Elliot's Quest, yeah, okay.
No, it's not that. That game's kind of old because it's been out. It was on Wii U and stuff. But no, this game is called, I want to say Stories of Bethel, but I know it's not that because Bethel is like a real place. But, but it's something like that. It kind of looks like a Link to the Past, but like you play like more like a Harry Potter looking kid. And there's another one that was like a Gauntlet style game.
That's
called,
cool.
I can't remember. I'll have to look. I've never heard of them before. I just saw them on sale
for Gauntlet Legacy.
No,
the best Gauntlet.
But they're both between $3 and $5, so I'm probably gonna pick those up for funds just to play more games I've never heard of that actually look interesting to play.
Right.
So there's a lot of neat games that don't. But I've been playing, besides the game we'll talk about in a minute, just little bits of Undertale. I'm at the very end now.
You finally got past all the trophies that said you're at the end.
Yeah. And that fight, the game show Metaton.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
The second time I did it, I got hit like once.
It's crazy though. I died the first time too. Did you buy the Glamburger?
It found one.
Okay, because that gives you 5,000 points.
It gives you 500.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways,
the thing that gives
you have to get 10,000, right?
You have to get if you get 12,000, you'll end the battle right away.
Okay.
If you get 10,000, you have to wait till his arms and legs blow off.
Oh, okay. I think I had to wait for the arms.
Yeah, that's the same here. You can get I looked up online, how do you get points fast? And the only thing that was significant is that if you change armor in battle, but it only works once per armor. So I had 3 things that I was wearing. Okay. And I put them all on, and then it gave me 5,000 points.
How silly and clever of a battle is that, though?
It's pretty good. Once I was really annoyed with it the first time because the ratings thing was really slow, but then now I'm fighting the last guy.
Asgore.
Yeah, which is a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
I'll probably beat it this time around because the thing that I didn't like was that the game made it seem like you go from that fight and there's no quick way back to just go buy supplies, but there is.
I actually don't know the quick way. I literally walked all the way back to the Tem area.
Oh, I didn't.
Did you ever go to the Tem shop?
I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it my first round either, and then I just literally looked online, where is it? And it's a hidden path.
But no, you can go straight back to the hotel.
Oh,
through all the elevators.
Oh yeah, I didn't walk through the gauntlet area that you're talking about, but it still takes a while. You still have to go through
a bunch.
3
minutes.
But. Yeah, but yeah, I pretty much loaded up on all healing items, got rid of everything else, and I used all of them on him, every single one. He's really hard. That game is awesome. We're gonna have hopefully a cast just to talk about maybe some spoiling on not just that now because we have a lot of games that we've all beaten together, but except for my boy Josh hasn't even played it.
I know.
Yeah. But anything else before we get to the main event?
Yeah, Halo Master Chief Collection.
Oh, nice, man. That I loved that when it came out. Even everybody was like, "Oh, it's broken," blah blah blah. I got it to work within a couple days of release. I know it didn't work immediately, but I got the multiplayer to work.
It was broken. Oh, it was multiplayer.
Yeah,
right?
it was the single player always worked.
And is it all? Because I actually am a fan of single player Halo campaigns.
No, they're great. Yeah.
So I mostly play that. I mean, we used to play Halo multiplayer all the time at LAN parties, but I don't like online multiplayer as much.
But the best thing about it though is all of those games that we can't get 16 people in a room for. Now even Halo 1 and Halo 2 they have they have communities, which is awesome.
But what I was going to ask is there a multiplayer mode for each game?
Yes, and then you can also choose a mashup multiplayer. Big Team Battle isn't for each game anymore. Mm-hmm. They have Big Team Battle and it rotates through all 4 games.
Okay, so the rule sets and mechanics change for each one?
Yes. Yeah, it's based on every single game.
The PC version of Halo had a bunch of multiplayer maps that we
those are also
to.
Those are also in the Master Chief.
So it has everything.
Yeah.
Because I remember the original Halo remastered on Xbox 360 used Halo 4 multiplayer and only had some of the levels.
Yeah, it's way better than that. I don't normally like being antagonistic, but everybody who said Master Chief Collection sucks can just die because it was
a great game and
it was for $60 getting 4 great games and then
I just bought it for 12.
Yeah,
5 because of all the problems they gave us ODST for free.
ODST now is $10, but still $10 for ODST remastered in 1080p with its multiplayer with what's it called, Firefight that was created in that. It's just kind of phenomenal how many people complained about it being broken when literally 3 days after it came out I was able to play matches easily.
I think that was the very height and mid or beginning point of the Microsoft hate train.
Yeah, I saw an article about it though recently where it's they're finally fixing Master Chief with the Xbox One X, and it's it was fixed a week after it came out. I know some people still had problems. Sorry, it just makes
this is the thing though, putting all of those games on one disc was a daunting task. Props to them
for Last Guardian though.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
also Microsoft's fault.
Yeah,
Is
that
it?
is Microsoft's fault. Last Guardian, the Sony exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
is, no, I just that always bothered me because Master Chief Collection is probably one of the best remasters ever. I would put it up there with. Did you guys get a chance to play Rare Replay?
No.
That's another thing. You can find that for $20 and has 30 games, and out of those 30, maybe only 10 are good, but it's still like that's a crazy good remastered collection that is also dirt cheap.
And as far as first-person shooters go, I still think Halo has one of the best narratives of like the past 10 years.
Yeah,
I
hands
can't
down.
think of a single game
hate,
that even comes close.
the only one I like nearly as much as Half-Life and Half-Life 2, and
Yeah.
I've heard from a lot of people that Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 2 are kind of like the new Half-Life, so I really want to give it another shot because I guess they have adventure elements to them, which is what I always loved about Half-Life. But no, Halo is like 100 times better than the Call of Duties and all the rest of the games where you just run down a corridor, shoot things, and then get story pieces. Because do you remember that second level? Sorry, real quick, and then we'll talk about what we all want to talk about. Remember the second level in Halo 1 where you get to go around? It's kind of open world, and you can choose how you want to go save the Marines.
Something cowboy, yeah.
Yeah, it's so great, and we still don't see that done all the time in today's shooters.
Dude, unless you're playing on easy, the Marines always died. They usually
Yeah,
killed
they're-
themselves too. They chuck grenades into a wall or something, and they all blow up.
Oh man, have you got a chance to play the game yet with switching back and forth between the graphics? Because it is awesome.
Oh yeah, I did
It's
that.
so
The
cool.
original Halo remaster, like on Xbox
Yeah.
360, lets you do that. It's so funny because it's like it's such a dumb thing when you
Yeah.
think about it, but it's so hard to not constantly do it.
Oh,
Like,
it's so cool.
When you're running around in the maw, like it helps too because when you can't, there's areas of low light and you can't see anything. You switch over to the original mode and everything's just bright, so you can see where you're going.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that was such a great game. Okay, what we're here all for, like what we've waited for all year, Super Mario Odyssey. I haven't played anything else. It's awesome. Donna, I'll start with you because you're the furthest, and then we'll go and just chime in. What do you think about it?
I played it.
You hate it, huh?
Hate it.
Everybody on this podcast hates Super Mario Odyssey. It's not enough Assassin's Creed for me.
Yeah. I could have used more Assassin's Creed elements in my Mario game.
Not enough haystacks to
Yeah.
jump into.
No, it was amazing. It
Yeah.
was so fun. I did read a lot of complaints about the quote unquote not quite optional motion controls.
Yeah, it's
and
just so
I
optional.
disagree
Yeah.
so hardly.
I don't
Actually,
even know
that's
if
wrong.
I ever
I
used
disagree so much because hardly.
Yeah, you
The motion controls, a lot of it does the same exact things that the buttons do, though. It's just a different way of doing them.
Yeah, there's one the toss move. I don't think you can do.
whatever.
But the thing is that it's so easy for me to just do this with my Pro controller.
Yeah.
Like I found myself shaking it a lot doing random motion controls because it was easy.
Yeah, the Pro Controller I think actually works really well with the motion controls because you can do all of them and it's not very hard. And you know, with everybody having the Joy-Con desync issues, like you know, I didn't even try that way. I messed around once in handheld and tried doing the flip up and the flip down. It was dumb, but it wasn't necessary ever.
I don't think I've ever used the flip up or flip down.
Yeah, no, there's no need to. I used it just to try it out and see. And it's
I mean, I did the same. I just did it with the Pro. But
yeah, the Pro. And then in the Pro I also tried the, you know, if you kind of flick it and then flip the hat, you'll do the twist around.
Yeah.
But Josh, you don't have the Pro controller, right?
No, so
How is the game for you?
I mean, it's
Thought we
fun.
were talking
It's
to me
fun.
about it, but-
I mean, it's
We're all gonna talk.
no, it's fun. I don't. I mean, because you guys have obviously.
Are you playing with the dog ears or are you playing with the...
I'm just playing with the little like plastic junk that it came with.
No, I know, but are you playing with? So you could have them separate, or you could slide them onto like the dock for the Joy-Con.
Yeah, I have them. I have them on that dock. I don't.
Dog ears.
I'm not, dude. I don't know. Like, I'm not good. Didn't play like Wii or Wii U much, so I'm not good with like those types of controllers. So
You don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I actually got, when the Wii was a thing, I actually really liked having the nunchuck because it just made it, like, for the most part, there wasn't a lot of motion controls, like random bits in Mario Galaxy and things like that. And But basically, it's like you're playing with a normal controller, except you can just rest your hands at your sides.
I loved crossing my arms and being able to play with this, my nunchuck here and this here, and I could just.
What was the first Zelda game that came out on Wii?
Twilight Princess.
I remember that had some motion control.
Yeah, it was great.
But it was like
very
tacked
light.
on.
Yeah.
Because Twilight Princess was a GameCube game.
I was so stoked though when I got that and I played. I'm like,
oh yeah,
whoa, this is so cool.
In the same way that that Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game.
Yeah.
Like Twilight Princess was a GameCube game, and then it was ported to the new.
Okay.
Like they were like, oh well, we have a new system coming out, so this needs to launch on it, kind of thing. But for the second Zelda game on Wii, it's crazy because we never got one on Wii U except for the Wind Waker remaster, which I guess counts because it was amazing and Wind Waker is perfect. But
yeah, I just
but
it's
it's
disappointing.
Yeah. But Skyward Sword is like mandatory like motion controls, and you have to like it's got like it's not like, oh, you flick your wrist and you do your sword attacks. It's like
you have to actually do
you
it.
have to like it's a little more.
It looked cool. I never got that because it came out when I was not home.
Is that a standard Zelda entry, or is it just like a special?
It's a standard entry.
Yeah, it's standard.
Okay. It's a full-on Zelda game.
It's not 4 swords.
Apparently, it's like the most hand-holdy Zelda game too. I think that's what most people.
I heard it takes like 8 to 10 hours just get out of the basic tutorials, and there's some like form of tutorial almost through the whole game.
I always go back to the end, like with the intention of, I got to beat this game.
Yeah.
The hard thing now is just that, man, Nintendo really blew it with the Wii and HDMI because everything just looks awful.
Yeah, it looks like trash.
Yeah. It's not even that the graphics themselves for Twilight Princess are beautiful, because Nintendo always does that kind of like, well, we're not going to go for photorealism. We're going to do this kind of like cel-shaded realistic thing, but it's just that it doesn't port in HD at all. So it just has like, it just looks like.
Do you think that if, a lot of TVs weren't getting rid of like their component and composite outlets, that the Switch would have not been HDMI?
No, of course it would be HDMI.
Yeah, they had to do that.
It's like the Wii U had HDMI, and that was hard for Nintendo. I know they're behind the times, but I mean, we're looking at 4K now, so it makes sense Nintendo's at 1080p.
Yeah,
but at least with the Wii U, it's not going to look bad, because it'll be at least smooth enough,
It's crazy to think like we got through the eras of the PlayStation 2 and then the next generation and then the next generation, and finally we got to this era that's kind of like the Super Nintendo, where the graphic style will probably never age as long as they make the games with artistic intent instead of like photorealistic. GTA 5 is going to look old. Even though it's a really good looking game, like it's going to look old.
I saw a video clip of it the other day, just like on a highlight reel on Kotaku, and then I was like, man, that looks terrible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that game is like 4 or 5 years old now, so it makes sense, or 4 years old, but it's just like they went for like a 3D, try to be kind of real game. Whereas, like, they're going to try to do the same thing with Red Dead, and I'm sure for 2 or 3 years, it's going to be the pinnacle, like, oh, man, Red Dead, you got to look at it. But we've so far, like, got way off the point. What do you think of Mario Odyssey, and how many hundreds of moons have you gotten, Josh?
I have 6 moons.
Oh, my God.
I just started,
over here, guys.
I just started the game the other night. I like it, dude. I don't know, because I haven't played a Mario game, since Nintendo 64, and
You didn't ever play Sunshine or
no,
Galaxy?
because I never kept a Wii or a Wii U long enough to journey into those games. I know you guys have a huge legacy with that kind of stuff, but
it's amazing.
I like how simple the game is, because I was concerned when I saw the hat mechanics. I was like, it was just a weird concern of mine that I was gonna not know what I was supposed to do with it, and then I like how everything's pretty straightforward. What animal you're supposed to take over, what you're supposed to do. It's not a lot of running around. I mean, obviously there's a lot of exploration, but you're not trying to run around figuring out what you're supposed to do. Everything has a purpose, and any cool little side path. There's something there for you, and it's a very fun game, and it looks really good too.
Yeah, I also, touching upon the simplicity you mentioned, they only have 4 buttons literally in the whole game they can do. There's the the crouch, jump, throw cap, and then fix the camera. And it's just combos of those.
And I like too how you don't get game overs. Like they give you plenty
I'm
of
sure
coins.
if you ran out of coins, you'd get a game over.
But
I don't know if you do, actually. I just think it keeps you at 0. Like, I bet it just does something where it just zeros.
Probably makes sense.
Yeah, and that is a penalty, because where we are at in the game, you need like thousands upon thousands of coins to get the stuff. So
to buy all the outfits.
Yeah, which is the most important part of that game.
I don't like too how the one thing I don't like so far is that the currency is not the same in every kingdom. Like they have this.
It's actually
That's the
awesome.
point, yeah.
That is like
That's
the
like
most
one of the
fun
biggest-
part of the game.
The biggest cool things of the game.
There are worlds or kingdoms where you collect stuff and there's not really a lot to buy.
Well, no, there's every single kingdom has exactly enough items for the max amount of coins. So if you find like the 50 of their special coins,
you can buy it.
You can buy everything in the store.
Yeah. So
you
there's
can't
only-
lose those coins either.
Yeah, there's
so.
only coins for how many like items there are. So it's like a special for each world. It's one of my favorite things to collect because those are always hidden in the most interesting spots.
And they're a lot
Like-
easier to get to the max than the power moons, which is just
Right. When
daunting.
part of that is because when you find really hard sections where those coins are hidden, if you say like fall on your way to get them and you only get one of them, it saves that one, so you don't have to get it again.
Oh, nice.
So as soon as you collect one of those coins, it saves it.
Well,
So-
when you go back for the moons, they give you stuff too. Like if you jump up into them, the ones you've already collected, they give you like
Well, they
hearts.
just give you, like,
Yeah, they give you
coins.
hearts and like a couple gold coins. Gold coins are significant because there's at least one power moon to buy per kingdom. Technically, there's a lot more, but there's one that counts on your list. If you're filling out your like lists and stuff,
There's also awesome costumes.
and awesome costumes. One that costs 9,900.
Yeah, I saw one too.
But most of them cost like 100 to 200.
Yeah, like I just bought bathing suit or underwear Mario. I don't know which one it is.
Oh yeah, nipples Mario.
Yeah,
I
that one
bought
was
that
great.
one like in the Sand Kingdom. I already had like 1,000
Oh,
coins.
really?
Yeah.
That took me almost till the end of the game to get that
I had
one.
like 7,000 coins at the end of the game.
Does that
Oh,
serve
really?
a purpose? Because I was wondering about that last night when I got
No,
it.
they're all just fun.
I've been cruising around as Diddy Kong.
Because the amiibo. I forgot about that.
No. I just you everything. So Nintendo made it explicit that everything that an amiibo unlocks.
Yeah.
I had a little mini stroke. Everything that an amiibo unlocks will unlock in the game without an amiibo.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
the
cool.
Amiibos
That's really
just
cool.
do it fast. So
Is
like,
there a Shovel Knight thing? Because I have the Shovel Knight
I
amiibo.
haven't unlocked anything like that yet. But I've gotten a Luigi costume.
Yeah, I got that
a
one.
Waluigi costume.
I don't think I've got that one yet.
I have the first part of the Wario costume because it unlocks it like
yeah,
the
by
half
the
first.
moons. Yeah, I got
And then Diddy Kong, and then I beat since I beat the second. Since I beat the first secret world, as soon as you beat it, you get this ridiculous like king costume.
Oh, nice.
It's really funny.
Those costumes are so awesome.
My favorite thing, which we've talked about
Yeah.
several times, is the 8-bit mode. Have you seen that yet?
Is that when you go into the wall?
Yeah, walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is seeing all the different costumes in 8-bit mode.
Have you guys, or I guess Josh, this won't apply to you yet, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Don, have you done I can't remember which place it's in, but it's like a really hard 8-bit section where the background moves, and if you don't stay with the background, then your character flies off in the real world and dies. I think it's in Cascade Kingdom, and I played it about 2 or 3, maybe 4 times, and you got to kind of like keep moving with this wall, and it goes up and down, and there's power moons.
No, I don't think I found that in Cascade Kingdom.
I think it's in Cascade.
I haven't spent a ton of time there since there, but I have gotten a lot of the moons, but I haven't gone back.
So
because I finished Cap Kingdom, I have close to 400 moons now.
Oh wow, I'm only at 250. But what I've been doing is I beat the game, and now I've been going through kingdom by kingdom, getting the easiest to find moons, just kind of like going and wrapping up, doing all the ones that I don't have to look online or anything for. And then I'm going to go through and get all of the moons after because
I went through something that's really interesting, but also because it's easy and hard, is that some of the moons, like the moons that you unlock post game, some of them are like supposed to be the hardest moons in the game, but they're also all marked on your map.
Yeah, it is nice. That thing's been like pretty awesome.
Also, I do want to mention the map is one of the coolest things about the game.
Oh my goodness.
Because every kingdom is like a travel brochure, and you can like, it's got like check out the bridge, like that kind of thing, and it's like it gives you hints too.
Where to find power moons and stuff?
It just gives you hints about things because like there's a moon in the Cap Kingdom, where you basically Cappy will like give you hints as you're looking around for it.
Okay.
And it's like you have to know the name of like some of the landmarks, and it's like, oh, you only know that from looking at the map.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love they just put so much detail into this.
it's
Like
so great.
I mean that's one of the things Nintendo's best at doing,
Yeah.
obviously, is just massive detail. But yeah.
Also, there's some surprises in the game that I somehow, in reading as many reviews and articles as I did, I never had spoiled for me.
Honestly, till you told me where to go look, I didn't know. And then I'm so glad you told me, because later that day, I listened to a podcast where someone's like, oh, yeah, you just do blank and it takes you to this blank. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I knew about that. Otherwise, I'd be pissed.
Even Darkside, because I heard the name mentioned as Darkside, but it's not Darkside. It's Darkside something.
Yeah.
And that, because I had no idea of the non-dark side of that. So when you went there, and it's got the whole different like
world type thing. I haven't been there yet, but we're talking. That's why we're talking general.
You did. You beat the game, I thought.
I beat the game, but I haven't gotten these unlocked special worlds yet.
Right, but what I'm saying is that the last world where
is a dark version of a regular world of some sort.
Yeah, where the wedding takes place.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah,
had no
awesome.
idea you go there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was a surprise too.
Oh, okay.
Stepping out on that world and it being what it is.
Yeah, that whole we can't talk again. We're gonna have to be super general, so we'll probably not spend too much more time talking about this. But the ending was awesome. That end was a ton of fun and full of surprises and silly. And for all the people like, oh, it's so dumb that Mario's gonna take Peach and blah 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 blah. It's like they totally vindicated it with what happens, and it's like, you guys are idiots. You just play the game. This is a lot of fun. They totally don't create a character like the way you guys are saying it, where she's always the victim. Like that ending was so great. Like I thought about it. I'm like, they could have done a traditional thing, but they totally went with their own like, hey, fun thing. And now it's like totally reflected in all the other worlds.
Yeah, it's super fun. And then obviously the spottings of all that stuff after the game.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that commentary, but
no, we'll stop talking about that. There, anything else?
Basically, in my main opinion is that it's not the responsibility of like existing. It's like it would be like rewriting Lord of the Rings to be like like a very feminist story or a very pro whatever story. It's like there should be that kind of representation. But it should require the creation of new things, like new characters, new stories. Like, there's no need for Mario to like, hey, Mario's really got to change his message here. And
you shouldn't have to change the original artist's intent. A new artist can take those works, like I think Marvel's done a really good job with
Miles Morales.
Yeah, they've done like a lot of representation and gender swapping and all this other stuff. It's like, just do that. Versus like taking, I know that they changed the sexual orientation of Captain America, I want to say, and the original artist was super unhappy about it. And I thought that was kind of a unfair thing, whereas like you could just make another character, make him be the Cap or something like that. Or
it was Iceman, and yet there's like a lot of backlash over that.
It's whatever. I mean, this is a huge thing that we don't probably even have the time to delve into, but we've talked about this lots of times on the show. Like, the original artist's intent is still pretty important, like, and if it's a bad intent, then people don't need to buy it. There's tons of art out there.
At the end of the day, the story should be told the way that the artist or writer wants to tell the story. It shouldn't. You shouldn't have to serve like
it's Mario.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you expect? Even. Like, you can even go the route, I guess, like how they did in Zelda, how he wasn't just rescuing the princess. Yeah. The princess was kind of badass, She was
awesome.
So
you didn't get to beat that yet, did you?
No, I barely played it.
We need to. We're talking about doing a Game of the Year thing. You need to at least get 75% of the way through that, okay? So we can talk about that, because
that's the next thing on my list. The main reason I didn't play it that much was because I was in the hospital and I just didn't care for it very much
on
in
the
handheld mode.
Yeah.
And then when my grandma had brought me Mario Kart, it's way more like handheld manageable. And
there's a lot too in Zelda that's fun to play on a bigger screen because you can kind of look around and see where you are.
I've been like a Zelda fan my entire life. So when I was a kid, I used to like not wear pants and wear a belt over my long shirt.
Yeah,
And I got
nice.
in trouble one time for like cutting up a
For
couch.
public nudity.
And I was always like taking toy swords and like burying them in the ground.
So you could take them out later.
Yeah.
Nice. The Master Sword.
Yeah, so I've been obsessed with Zelda since I was a little kid, and yeah, I think
Well, you
Skyward Sword and this new one are pretty much the only ones I haven't finished.
Well, beat Skyward Sword a different day. Beat this one or
one
get as far
is-
as you
is
can.
good.
I was trying to beat Skyward Sword before this came out because, or before I played Zelda, because I had a feeling that I would never go back to Skyward Sword after this.
Yeah, and it will be very hard to, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's just, it feels like a game that I kind of have to grind through. But a couple more bits on Mario that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get a Odyssey 2?
Yeah, well, they said they're going to make another one for Switch.
Okay.
So I am hoping. Here's the thing: like, they don't need to do it a billion of them, but it'd be cool to have, like they did for Galaxy and Galaxy 2, which are both amazing games. It'd be cool to have one more game like this that is like a mega uber collectathon, because I mean, there's a chance that by the time I get 999, I will be sick and tired of the game. But realistically, I don't think that's going to happen, as I can only think about playing it, and I'm already at 250 or something like that. And that's the only thing I want to do.
I'm close to 400, and I like even the challenging sections are so, like, I actually really like that they keep the really intensely challenged parts in such short bursts, except for the second secret level, which is apparently a no checkpoint hardest platforming.
Yeah,
in the
that's
game.
what I heard, and
But
I'm excited for it, but I'm also scared that
Dude,
I'm
some
gonna
of the parts there. I already found like this part I was doing that Josh walked in on me doing was so freaking hard, because you have to time every jump
ridiculous.
exactly, because
Oh, wow.
it's like a huge stretch of land that disappears with a timer,
Nice.
and you don't have like any leeway.
Okay.
So
yeah,
rough.
I love those sections because when you finish them, they're super rewarding.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: even if I bounce off at 600 moons, like I didn't get 900 or whatever Korok seeds, but I love Breath of the Wild. Like, it's one of my favorite games I've ever played, and there is actually a real possibility that even if I don't ever do 120 shrines again, I might play through that game sometime in the future, or at least I'll get probably the Champions DLC when it comes out.
yeah, they it's the same. Mario is just so fun. It's great. I love the concept of not like getting booted out of a world every time you complete a moon, like you've done with the shines and with the stars and with what did you collect in Galaxy?
It is stars again, but I don't know if they're called stars or it was stars.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what they're called.
And those games are not less for that, because the
No.
game was designed around that.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's almost like semi-open world.
Yeah.
And it's like
About that hit.
I was dreaming about, like, what would it be for a new Mario game to be even more open world? How interesting that would be, where it's like a true open world.
Yeah, that's what I was actually just about to talk about. Like, I hope we get to see that. But if they do another game in the vein of Odyssey, I'd be okay with that too.
Oh yeah, the hat mechanics are so fun.
Yeah, like I definitely do want to see a true open world Mario at some point.
There were two mechanics of the hat mechanics that frustrated me a little bit, and now
Which one? I mean, if they're too late, don't talk about it.
There's only one. There's actually three.
Yeah.
One of them is not that frustrating. It is just, and I don't want to say it.
Oh, okay.
But it is just a little bit like you move fast and you have this weird jumping ability that doesn't quite work.
Is it a gliding character by chance?
No, the gliding character is a little crazy, but
yeah, that one's hard.
But you don't have to use that one that much. No, this is more of a secret.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably come across it very soon if you haven't already. But the fireball.
Oh, you didn't like those?
So here's the problem: is that I feel like it's rigged where when you're in the water or in the luncheon stew, you jump really far, but then when you want to get somewhere secret and jump over something,
It's
can't.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't like that, because then it would constantly be this battle where it's like you would barely nick the side of the solid ground, and,
you become
it would pop
Mario,
you,
yeah.
and then you get killed by a tomato or something.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that.
I thought there was cool platforms though. Did you do that where you jump on the tomato and then you jump on the other tomato because they act as lava pits?
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
No, I didn't understand those tomato enemies at first,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, they're lava pits.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually got burnt by one early on, so I was like, oh, and then I saw that part later, and I'm like, I need to do this. But anyways, what was the other one?
So the other one is the Koopa guys that either throw fireballs or throw pans.
Okay.
So
those were great. You didn't like those?
Here's why: you can't aim for shiz.
Yeah. Okay. I will agree with you
and
there.
The problem
I hated
is
those.
they make you aim. You have to either take out cheese, and then so there's you've already fought the mech boss. All the rabbits at once.
Oh,
it's in Bowser's Kingdom.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So in the boss rush, that is the very last bit, and instead of the little bird, you have to use those guys.
Oh wow.
And they jump crazy because their regular step is a jump.
Yeah, and then you can't aim.
You can't aim.
Yeah, the aim was bad because I'm sure you probably did the little door where you have to like aim, and then you have to hit a certain amount of cheese blocks to be able to jump up to get a thing, and you're like, come on, please just hit the right one because otherwise you're destroying all the ground and I can't get to anything.
Yeah. So it's that was a little bit. I didn't dislike. I mean, I didn't hate it. There was never really a point, and there's actually never been a point in this game where I was like, "This
can't wait for this to
dumb.
end."
Yeah, no, but it was not my favorite.
So we got to move on just because we're at 35 minutes and 25 of those have been talking about Mario. Real quick before we start talking about news, did either of you guys get a chance to watch Stranger Things season 2?
Yes, finished it yesterday.
Finished it? Okay, I'm only at 7. You finished it too?
Yeah.
Okay, no spoilers. What do you guys think of season 2 though compared to season 1?
Oh, it's I don't like comparison because they're not meant to be the same.
I know, but
and there's a whole commentary show.
I didn't get to watch that yet.
Don't watch it
Okay,
because it's all spoilers.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't want to watch it. I want to see it, but
it's hosted by the dean from Community, which is
what?
great.
Oh man, I love that guy.
But here's something they said that was really great is that they described the Demogorgon from the first season as a shark.
We're going to probably spoil the first season for those of you who are listening, so skip ahead if you don't want to know about season 1.
So they describe him as a shark, as in someone that is like kind of like lone and that can like basically pop out of the water, take their prey, and pop back in. Yeah. But it was basically it's like acting on its instincts. It's not like an intelligent creature.
Yeah.
And so for this season, they wanted to have a threat that was more sentient. So
I guess I don't want to know too much about the ending, but I do want to say that where I'm at right now, it hasn't had the same creepiness as the first season.
It's a lot larger in scale, so it feels like it almost feels like
Sorry, I want to just before you say that, are you on episode 7 or have you finished episode 7?
I think I'm on episode 7.
Okay, that's the like one-off episode.
Okay, I haven't even watched it yet.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it takes place in a different like universe, no pun intended, but it's like the first season was very like horror suspensey, but in this one is more like action oriented.
It's funny because they described this season as more horror.
That's what you told me. So I was like,
but this is like Lovecraft horror. That's the thing is that this is like it's cosmic horror because the shadow monster, which is just in the
and that's
description
in
the show,
the
it's not a spoiler, is a sentient creature that has like aims and goals essentially that are like you cannot comprehend as a human being. And that's the whole point is it's like whatever, it's like the Reapers in Mass Effect. It's like whatever their like MO is simply beyond you. So it's not like they're not dealing with this like, oh, we're this, like we're like for human morality, we are evil and we just want to kill because we're sadistic. It's beyond that. It's like they have their own, it has its own thing. And I like the hive mind aspect of it. But it gets, so episode 7 is cool. It's very different because it's like it's kind of, you'll see. But the show comes together super well. It's hard because this is why comparison I think is hard to do with season 1 because you miss sort of the pairings of season 1. Yeah. But at the same time, if it was the same as season 1, it would instantly be not as good.
Because Hangover 2.
True. Exactly. So having the pairings like with, like you've seen Far Enough. Like
Yeah, there's Steve Harrington and some of the kids. I don't want to say too much. That's kind of fun. That's a really
super
fun thing.
funny.
Yeah.
The only pairing that's like from the first show is Nancy and Jonathan.
And
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of broke into some cliched writing with.
I think they had
dynamic.
to. But I love Brett Gelman's character.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
And also, I like Mad Max. And I think her brother is interesting because he's the worst.
I feel like he's gonna have a bigger role to play
in the next season.
Well,
season.
so maybe, but
Okay,
I won't
okay.
spoil it.
Well, you guys have both seen it, so Josh obviously doesn't know.
I won't spoil it. I mean, he spoiled it already by
Yeah.
saying that he's in the next season, so
Okay.
that means that he's not gonna die horribly.
Okay.
Um,
Well, unless Josh knows he's in the under.
but
no.
something they did say, is that they do see him as like a human antagonist in a sense.
Okay.
Like whereas Steve kind of started that way, but it turns out he's kind of a good guy.
Yeah.
Um,
You need like a human besides just
Yeah.
like unnamed, this was in the first season, so not a spoiler, CIA goon, you
Yeah.
need other people who
Yeah.
are going to be like foils. Because
And-
this is a show about kids and growing up as much as it is
yeah, but
horror.
the season ends like super well, and I like the sort of cosmic beast in this season because there's got to be more to the Upside Down than just like these.
just the horror elements.
At the end of the day, like Stranger Things is really just a retelling of The Mist, and I'm hoping to see like some pretty rad things coming forward.
So we'll see because they're like with the events, it's hard to say what's going to happen because they don't really. Yeah, it doesn't end the same way that Stranger Things 1 ends,
Which was super creepy, and actually I had a hard time sleeping when he went to his bathroom, like that scene.
I didn't
yeah.
find that creepy. I mean, I found it was creepy, but it wasn't like
that. So Stranger Things season 1, and I want to actually hear your notes, Josh. Sorry, because we've been talking a lot since Mario and stuff. But and we'll stop talking about this and get
take
into
a
the news.
quick break.
Oh, we will. Okay, well, just give me one second. But like I missed the scenes like where they put the lights up, and then she says like run, and the thing comes through the wall. Like those were creepy elements from the first season that I feel like the second one has been missing so much. We're gonna take a break in 1 second, but anything you want to add to Stranger Things?
We get to some creepy stuff.
Okay.
But it's not creepy in the like suspense creepy. It's like
It's
gruesome.
The second season is just on a whole bigger scale, and they had so many characters from the first season that everybody
Way too
loved,
many
and they were
plot
very like
points,
endearing, and so they wanted to like make sure all these characters didn't suffer from like X-Men syndrome, where you have them just standing around. for
Yeah, I was actually
episodes.
really worried. One thing I was super worried about going in because by the time I got to episode 6 or so,
They have so many plots.
I was really worried that this wasn't going to be a single season arc.
Yeah.
Because I believe they said that they will always do single season arcs.
Yeah.
It was one episode less than the last season.
No, it's
More.
one episode more.
One, okay.
But what I meant is that by episode 6, things had barely felt like they were super
And
rolling.
everybody's on their own,
Not in a
too.
bad way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I thought every episode was great and necessary. There wasn't any like fluff.
Yeah.
But I was worried like, oh, there's only 4 episodes left. Like, how are they going to finish this story out? And they did it really well. But yeah, I was worried about that for a second because there's so much buildup they have to do. They have to like introduce a new character one new character that actually matters. But
Yeah, Mad Max.
I mean, they got to introduce the other character, and then there's one more character. Or it's 2 more because there's Brett Gelman, and then there's the
Sean Astin, and there's
Sean
Billy.
Astin, and
yeah,
there's the
so there's
chick
about
from the
4 characters.
Millie's not a new character.
No, I mean there's 4 like really new characters: Mad Max, Billy, Brett Gelman's character, and Sean Astin. The rest were introduced last season, at least where I'm in.
Well, no, the girl in the very beginning of the show.
At least with Sean Astin's character, they were able to tell his story without telling his story.
Something funny about his character is that he wasn't originally conceived to be as big of a role, and B as lovable of a character. Like, he was going to be kind of a dopey guy.
Yeah.
But I guess Sean Astin was a huge fan of the show and sent in a tape audition to be a part of it.
Oh,
And
nice.
he was just so good that he became a whole like different thing. Like Bob the Brain, that whole like solving
Yeah.
that was because of
That was
him.
an homage to the lights, I think, from the first season. But we got to take a break. We've got at least 30 minutes of news to talk about, and we got to end kind of soonish.
Okay.
What, do you have anything?
Oh, I was just going to say that Sean Astin's character, he never outstays his welcome on screen. He's always like serves a purpose, and that's cool.
He's great. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Okie doke, we are back. So we're going to run through some of the news a little bit quicker today because we spent a lot of time on the front end. I want to talk about the big thing that we've been waiting for on Xbox, PlayerUnknown's Battleground. It comes out in Games Early Access December 12th.
Is it early access? Because the game is still technically early access.
So they're putting their game preview program or
this
whatever.
might be, is this like the most popular game that's not finished?
Yeah. Yeah, the people are like wondering if they should do it in their Game of the Year discussion for a lot of big review sites. Because they've never had like this big of an issue with
It's not, isn't it out already on PC?
Yeah, but
the full...
what's out nowadays doesn't mean anything. It's in early access.
Oh. And the game is like so well received. Yeah, what changes are they promising? Is there like a campaign mode? Is there
I think it's just more maps and vaulting and things like that. But right now they have this problem. I can't remember what it is, but like they have some type of hack that people are using where they're just like, because it's on peer-to-peer right now, hosting, some people are like putting in cheats where they have super speed and auto aim and can see through walls.
And they can shoot like 10 times faster than everybody else.
Yeah, so they're trying to
I wonder how that'll work.
down.
That probably won't happen on Xbox.
No,
right?
it'd be a lot harder because it's just closed. So, I mean, people will, like Call of Duty Black Ops, if you play that now on like backwards compatibility, is destroyed. Like there is always at least one match with one guy who's like impossible to kill, has like infinite bullets, you know, like you can maybe kill him if you have 5 guys shoot him at the same time, but otherwise
I'm interested in the mindset of that guy. He's like playing a game that's super old now. He's like
got to be the
there's
best,
no
right?
point, like he's not the best because he's cheating. Like
got to be the best.
But that's I'm looking forward to that because I'm thinking of games like Ark, you know, that are supposedly early access, but it's like
which I think it finally came out this year. I think it's like done.
Yeah, I don't
in
think
August.
I feel like it's still not done, but I think
Really?
it's.
I know they had the box copy, so I thought the box copy came out in August, so I thought it was like done.
I feel like I was looking at it the other day on the shop, and it was still like
Game previews.
Yeah.
Like speaking of a good game preview game, it's from the Casual Crashers guy. I bought it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a turn-based tactical game. Pit.
The
Pit or something like that. It's like, it's really good. It's like an arena turn-based tactical game. It's really funny.
Interesting.
But it's Pit People. Yeah, it should be coming out sometime. Another Xbox thing beyond like, and they've been doing a lot of really cool stuff. Xbox One X. It launches this week. I want to say Friday. That's crazy. Are any of us getting it day one? I'm gonna wait for a sale.
Yeah, I'll probably wait for a bit.
I'll wait for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've heard nothing but good things. I've heard so far the loading times are increased, and you know,
I'm pretty excited for it. I think I'm mainly waiting because I have to think about getting a new computer soon, which is a different beast.
My goodness, that is such an expensive proposition. But yeah, did any of you guys get a chance to? I almost picked up Ninja Gaiden Black on.
No,
but I haven't got a chance to play any of the backwards.
Unfortunately, Mario.
Yeah, I know. It came out like the worst. I mean, it came out technically 2 or 3 days before, but it's not like, you know, it's still in that week time period. So
at least this coming year, when there's downtime between games, there's still going to be stuff to play. Like there's still a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we probably don't have time to touch on Wolfenstein, but we can touch on the Assassin's Creed fake reviews that are going up, which is awesome.
What is up with that?
Another thing just to show you everything on the internet is fake, as people are saying.
Do you think that Ubisoft has anything to do with that?
I don't have a clue, man, but the fact that they're just like, it's not review bombing, it's the opposite of that to their game, like totally boosting their review by having fake review. And you can't say Ubisoft's behind it, but it's just really strange.
But it's like, why, you know, is it just like one guy that's a massive fanboy? And
I have no clue, man, but that's such a weird thing to do. Like, I have a feeling because somebody's probably paid or paying to do this, there's going to be a bombing like group that will soon like review bomb it, which will The review scores thing, at some point, review scores are going to have to die. Like, they just have to die.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. You know, I'm glad so far we haven't really touched on too many scoring for the games that we like. We just kind of talk about them and say what we like about them and what we don't. But,
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure Bethesda is not the only company that pays out bonuses based on your Metacritic.
Yeah, oh my
So
goodness.
theoretically, like a company like Ubisoft, because I'm not going to say that they're like an evil corporation. They're not EA, but you know, like if I were EA or something like that, you know, it's like if your game reviewed well critically, but didn't technically, but didn't quite get enough, like you'd want that because then you don't have to pay money.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like Fallout New Vegas, like classic example for Bethesda is like a game that's pretty well revered by like a lot of people, especially Fallout fans, and like it's considered like a better narrative than Fallout 3, but it didn't quite get their Metacritic.
84 is what they got, and 85 is what they needed for $1 million bonus.
Exactly.
And they didn't
So,
Barely.
like that seems
Jeez.
like for a corporation, that's probably like exactly what you want. You want a game to be like well received and live on, because New Vegas definitely lives on, but also you didn't have to pay an extra money for it.
Right. And do you think that will, on the other side of that coin, will ever reach the point where there are companies paying people to give other games bad reviews?
I think what it is gonna, I think it's like what you said. Review scores are gonna go away eventually.
They have
it's
to.
clearly just like bad.
Well, it's the same thing with movies too. Like the critics, like Metacritic or whatever, they're destroying the industry. So that's going to have to end sometime soon too.
And I think honestly, like we're gonna see just you know, maybe the numbers might stay, but like the user reviews are going to be what's most important, because people don't like. I want to say Blade Runner 2049 was one of the highest reviewed movies of this year, and it hasn't made its budget back. Like, you know, it's an amazing movie. I loved it. It was great.
It was great.
But it's not making its budget back. So what does the top review mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like pointless.
Yeah, critic culture is interesting because I think critic culture will change drastically.
Yeah.
Because like if you look at like music critic culture, most people don't care.
No, not at all.
But in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of, or definitely in the 70s, there was a lot of guys like the Rolling Stone guys and stuff. I forget their names because they're all assholes, but they
like Keith Richards and all those guys.
No, not people, not
from the
people from the
magazine.
Rolling Stones.
Bunch of assholes.
I don't know that guy personally.
Jagger, man, that guy, he is such.
Yeah,
Mick
no,
Jackass.
from like the magazine and stuff,
Okay.
where they would try and sound like these really highbrow like music, but they're not musicians. And that's the thing, is it's like you're getting these guys that like think they know something because they're critics, and they are trying to like taste make, but they don't really have great taste because it's relative, and they don't have the skills, the musical skill set to actually determine if something is objectively well constructed. So they just kind of like that's why there's always that thing like critics hate heavy metal and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they hated it in the 70s, even
don't
though
get
it's
it,
like a
yeah.
huge deal. Same with a band like Rush that's been around forever. Like they have never been liked by critics ever. pretty
Really?
much. Yeah. Especially
Crazy.
in the 70s because they're too weird. But they're like a band that's lasted for like 40 years or something. And that kind of thing. It's like, well, they're not like artsy. They're not like this. They're not like this. Like they want, you know, I think games now, since games are sort of maturing, but not really, we're still kind of in that like, it's been like 30 something years. So I think the critic culture is reaching like a real breaking point where it's like you hear these things like these like highbrow like reviews and stuff like that, but they sound so pretentious.
I hate too that like a lot of people who make these reviews, like they don't
don't
have
make
any, they don't
things.
make anything. Yeah, they don't appreciate the time and the skill and just like the vision that goes into a lot of this stuff, good or bad. Like if you're going to review something, you should review it with an appreciation to what goes into it.
That's the hard thing about reviewing, the whole concept of reviewing in general. Because
Yeah, it's somebody who has checked out a lot of things, so they feel like they have. And you know, we do a similar thing here. We just don't ascribe numbers to it. We just talk about, hey, what we liked. It's an opinion.
Yeah.
But some people take these opinions to be closer to fact, which is insane.
Yeah, or some people think if they dress up their opinion with really douchily pretentious language that it becomes a fact, or that it becomes more like, you know.
Speaking of tastemakers, we should have this up today. I interviewed a guy from Aztez, and I'll remind it one more time at the end.
I'd
His
love
name's
to play a game as Tez.
Aztez. Yeah, Tez from
Workaholics.
Workaholics. No, Aztez, and his name's Ben Ruiz, but their game was actually covered by almost every site, reviewed really well, And, tastemakers like Total Biscuit. I don't even follow YouTube, but I knew of this guy. He talked about it multiple times just about that game, and they didn't even get their budget back. So it just proves like that happens while like a Stardew Valley, which no one heard of, instantly, made $20 million bucks. Like, and there's
I think a game like Stardew Valley, and this goes into our I think this goes into like internet culture and goes into like the representation culture sort of thing that we were talking about, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think a game like Stardew Valley has the same appeal that a game like Undertale or a game like Overwatch has.
Yeah.
This is a game where people can like
be whoever they want.
It's not obviously there's not like really a role playing element to something like Overwatch.
I like Underwatch better than Undertale.
Overwatch.
Yes.
Overwatch.
Overtale.
But there's characters of all like shapes, sizes,
and you can be whoever you want.
Exactly.
Stardew Valley and all those games.
Stardew Valley, you can have whatever like kinds of relationships you want, and an Undertale, like all of the like couple pairings that you come across in the story, I don't think any of them are straight.
No, yeah, it's a very interesting game. Cool, it's because your character's gender isn't even really discussed,
right. So
which is kind of cool.
I think it's good
thing,
and I think that. The way internet culture like sensationalizes a lot of things, I think that it's basically really hungry for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's why like an incredible game like Mario needs to diversify, even though it's not. And then a game like, in the cases of like Overwatch and Undertale and Stardew Valley, like these are good games. There's not really like Stardew Valley is a good game. It's a fun farm simulator. It looks great because it's got this Super Nintendo nostalgic feel. It is fun to meet characters and to do all that kind of stuff. But it ticks those boxes. Yeah. So I think those are boxes that are, that are very like, hot right now.
Well, did you see? Sorry,
hot
just
boxes.
One more example. You're talking about like diversifying. Did you see how? They're interviewing the lady who plays Valkyrie in the new Thor movie, and she's saying that she played the character like she was bisexual, and the internet just went nuts with her, like first bisexual movie in Marvel, blah blah blah, and then there's like people going, I'm gonna boycott this movie, blah blah blah.
I read that her character in the comics does have relationships with both genders or something.
Yeah, she does, but like
Or
in the movie, it
genders.
wasn't like Marvel didn't say, all right, hey, we're going to make this character a bisexual person. She just said she kind of played it like that. And
see,
whatever.
Things like that are kind of cool where people take their own intent on the character, and it doesn't seem like, I doubt it's like the most crucial part of Thor, but it allows other people who may not, ascribe to the norms, fit into and watch it, enjoy it, and see somebody else that they feel represents them.
Yeah, and again, that's the thing is I think people need to identify with things. And I think that's why we're going to reach like a really rough patch with this sort of like, I don't want to use the term social justice warrior because I am in agreement with a lot of those things.
It's a weird 50-50.
So I don't want to, but I'm going to use it for the sake of talking about this. But I think we're going to reach like a point where it starts to get really out of hand with like, the things like, oh, like Mario needs to do this.
Yeah.
And then at some point, it'll kind of like
there'll be enough representation.
It'll all absorb so that like Mario can be Mario, but there's also all of this other stuff.
Enough stuff.
It just needs to be done tastefully. Like, don't force it on people. Like, especially with someone like Mario. Like, don't.
I think when you have to take something that is inherently not what that is, and then you adjust it to become that is when it's forceful.
Yeah.
As opposed to making games and stories and characters from the ground up that are a certain way.
And like you can even make like side characters in a Mario game and say, hey, that character's this, and that I'd be perfectly okay with that. Like, it's just
we've ended up opening a giant can of worms. Yeah. This is like a huge topic. I want to get through just really, really, really quick, at least one more news story, and then we'll wrap up. Did you guys read that Mass Effect, the ending?
Oh, the novel?
Yeah.
I feel like that's cheap,
man,
dude.
It would be great too if they just got the Drew Persian or whatever, however you say his last name, the guy that invented Mass Effect.
Yeah, to write
who
it.
Wrote all the good novels of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Who left the team. I don't remember. I forget if he was kicked off the team or if he left the team. But
I don't know. Was it during 3 probably?
It was during 2.
Oh, okay.
It's halfway through 2, I think.
He probably wrote all the cool Garrus stuff.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite scenes.
I think he created the lore. That's why there's a big shift in, and I love Mass Effect 3, but that's why basically like all the plot threads that they start to like hint at in 1 and 2 just disappear. and it's like, oh, never mind, the Reapers are this, and there's this child, like, but
I feel like we were cheated out of what could have been like something that they could have just done one DLC and closed up everything.
I don't think. I mean, we've seen Mass Effect on sale for $12. It obviously did not sell a lot of copies. Like, the game came out March, and we're in October, and the game is 90% off, 70% off sale. Like, I don't even know what the numbers are.
But at this point, making a novel to wrap things up is just more of a slap in the face, though.
Yeah, but
it is. But you know what? I read the Mass Effect novels that went between the games.
Yeah,
the original trilogy, and they're great because you play. They're about Anderson.
I like the idea you play. It's just like, and now Anderson moves forward. Do you choose
like a pick your own?
No, but they're about the Colonel guy, the first human Spectre. You know?
Oh yeah.
From Mass Effect. So they're like super
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah.
And the doctor that appears, I think, in Mass Effect 2. I forget her name. It's been too long. The white-haired lady that's on your ship.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name either. She's in the med bay.
Is it Callie or something like that? I don't remember. But either way, she's in those books. So it's like you get this like history of these characters that are cool. But I don't know about Mass Effect.
The craziest thing to me, and not even about Mass Effect, but it's the fact that we are just at the first week in November, and because we have a short day because we talked about Mario and Stranger Things for a bit. There is still like GameStop expanding a used like rental policy. There's the Paris Games Week where Sony announced 14 PSVR games. There's like a research done with the Switch and how people use it. Like, there is so much news. We need to have like a mega super BS one of these days where we just do like an hour and a half to 2 hours because we have a ton that there's just to cover.
Yeah, the GameStop thing is interesting. I read a comment.
It's too late for me, to be honest. Like, if they would have done this in the 360 era, if they would have allowed this policy, I would have probably been all over it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was playing more games.
Now,
why now?
But the interesting thing is I read is that he's like, what's to stop people from just trading out their own discs that are scratched up and then putting them back?
And also, like, used sales, you're basically buying a game that's been to like 30 different houses. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting and whatnot, but here's the thing. It's a $10... because it's 6 months for $60 or whatever. It's $10 a month, and if you have like nothing to do, then you just go there, pick up a game, rent them, use it as a rental service. The thing is, GameStop should have been ahead of the curve and tried to do this digitally, but they're not going to, and they're probably going to be left in the dust very, very, very soon because they're trying to. This should have happened 10 years ago, and we should be on the digital version of this now. But just like Best Buy and all the other big budget ones, they didn't want to make the cuts. That would have made them a ton of money. And so now they're playing big time catch up.
Well, they're just going back and trying to do what Blockbuster did.
Yeah. Man.
Game rentals.
We do need to talk about the Sony games next week or next time we talk because they announced a bunch of stuff. And then
they announced the one that's already supposed to be terrible.
Oh yeah, over.
I read somewhere that that was probably planned. Like they knew it was bad, which is why
they did a day of release.
Right. So that way a bunch of people will just buy it because they're like, oh, like.
And we need to talk about Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. You guys need to get that book. Me and Donna have been talking about this nonstop. All the stuff that you talked about with Stormlands and Fallout New Vegas, that's all covered in there. There's a lot of really cool examples.
That was Obsidian's Xbox IP, right?
Yep, that was the one that got canceled. It sucks because it sounded awesome, but whatever. So we got a few things. We got the interview with Ben Ruiz for Aztez up today. We will hopefully have this up soonish. Anything else? Do you guys have anything game-related planned for this week?
No, you can check out my review of Maze is online.
And there are 0 review scores because we all agreed today that review scores are arbitrary. So thank you, Josh.
I completely contradicted this entire podcast.
And hopefully we'll have an interview with them soon. We'll have a Game of the Year podcast, what we've been trying to talk about soon. We'll try to get us all together. And we're bringing Stankbake back. We'll do the stock corner, right? I think we're talking about having that as early as maybe even next week.
Yeah.
So awesome. We will be back soon. Peace. Oh, yeah.
That's to us people that can feel things. It hurts.